Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Good evening from my side. Myself, Dr. Renu Mishra. I am on behalf of Research Graduate. I'm welcoming you all from Melbourne, Australia. Um, we conduct these webinars every fortnight, and the topics we have always is something related to, which is dwelling deep on your research acumen. So today we have a very important one: tools and techniques for plagiarism removal. So in that we'll understand about plagiarism. We'll talk about what exactly different kind of plagiarism and many more. Okay, so every week these webinars are being coordinated and organized by research graduate, which I very fondly say that it's a one-stop solution for all your research queries, wherein you talk about your topic selection, wherein you talk about proposal writing, anything related to your research um, aspect, and you think so that is you are stuck with something. So feel free to getting in touch with research graduate for the same. Okay, so when it comes to getting in touch with research graduate, these are the details. You can browse research graduate on researchgraduate.com. The number and the email id is there on right on your screens. All right. Okay, so couple of important information related to this webinars. That is, it'll go around 90 minutes or so, and which is followed by a series of question and answers. So as long as you have your questions with you, we'll be ongoing with the webinar. One very important thing related to the questions is that kindly do not post the questions within the webinar, during the webinar when I'm discussing things. Please make a note of those questions, and we will take all these questions once we are done with the discussions. Reason being that if I'll keep on answering the questions in between, it we get deviate from the topic, and the ones who are others who are listening to it, they also lose their interest. Okay, so your ppts, your recordings, your certificates will be shared to you on your registered email id, so make sure that you are registered with a right one. Okay, another thing is that you need to increase your video quality on the YouTube to 720p so that you can have a better experience. Categorically, for the phone users, you might can find little glitches because sometimes you may not get good connectivity or probably good visibility when you're using from your phone. At any instance, if you think that any slides are not visible to anyone, please don't worry, because slides are something which will be there in your email box at any point in time, so don't worry about it. Okay, about me, who's coordinating this webinar on behalf of research graduate, myself, Dr. Renu Mishra, and I am a management educationist, and I'm based in Melbourne, and I teach for a couple of universities here, University of Tasmania or MIT, and I also conduct classes back in Dubai. So I was, prior to Melbourne, I was teaching in Dubai for higher education. So I take doctoral, bachelor's, and PhD students. Okay, so that's what's all about me, and let's get started for the webinar. Okay, now first thing first, you need to understand what exactly we are talking about today. So, this is something which is of importance for all of you. Okay, now when I say for all of you, why particularly it is like that? Reason being, plagiarism is something which is found everywhere these days. Okay, specifically when it comes to research, it has found everywhere in research. Now, if I go back to my teaching time, when I started 14 years back till now, I have seen every growing phase of plagiarism, how it has been upgraded or probably imbibed, and now we are in the age of AI. So plagiarism is, it's like everywhere. For me, it's everywhere in research. The main aspect is to get rid of it, and that is how. First, understand what exactly is plagiarism. In very simple language, plagiarism is something when you CCP, For me, I call it CCP: cut, copy, and paste. That's one thing. Second important aspect is you have done CCP, plus you have not given credit to that author. That means the name of that person who is the original author of that content. You have not mentioned the name. Okay. Third thing is that even though you have mentioned the name, okay, fine, these two lines are being said by so and so author, and you have completely copied it from that source, and you have mentioned the name. So important part here is that we cannot just take it as it is. We need to modify it. We need to rephrase it. Rephrase is the word, exact word. Okay. Now, this kind of thing, many of you must be aware that it also is there in the fashion industry, or copying the songs or copying the designs. It also is there, and similarly, it is there in our academics research also, where you cannot just copy anybody else's content and not being giving their due acknowledgement, or even if you are giving a due acknowledgement, you are just replicating the content. That's it. That's all is plagiarism. Let me tell you, that's all is plagiarism. Okay. Now, plagiarism is basically something which is I'm just telling you something which are which is extra information apart from this webinar as well. Plagiarism becomes really important to all your researchers who are primarily in their stage of literature. What happened is, if you are PhD scholar, or if you are MPhil scholar, or any kind of research project you are doing, literature is that part where you are supposed to get majority of the information, and that all information is from some other source. Is not something which you are writing, you are adapting it. Okay, so adaptation is okay. That adaptation is okay, but copying is not okay. Okay, giving the sources due reference, due acknowledgement is absolutely not okay. Okay, and that's what we need to know, that to what extent we are copying, to what extent we are rephrasing, and how much we need to copy. One last thing before I move ahead with the slides is that two things you cannot rephrase. First, inverted comma definitions. So if there is a definition you have taken from a source, and like you said, that ma'am has told us that we need to rephrase it, but there is no rephrasing done for definitions. Never. So you cannot change the definition. You put it as it is in the inverted commas, as defined by or as stated by, the definition is as it is, and the reference is being given. Second thing, which you cannot rephrase, is the inverted commas, quotes, quotations. So if somebody has said, for instance, Shakespeare said what's there in the name. Okay, so you can't change this. It's been You'll have to adopt as it is. So quotes and definition. Now quotes, uh, people specifically who are doing their PhD or their research in literature, any kind of literature, any kind of language. So there are a lot of definitions, right? And you cannot change that. And there are a lot of quotes also, you cannot change them. So you eventually will have a high plagiarism if your work has high number of, or more number of definitions, or more number of quotes. Okay. Now let us embark on what we are supposed to talk about today, and that is plagiarism, definition and types. So definition, and I have given you the idea of the concept of plagiarism. So let's head on to it. Okay. And what exactly are the types of plagiarism is right here. So let's talk about each one, because I have given you a broad aspect of definition of plagiarism, what exactly plagiarism is. However, on the basis of the plagiarism done, on the basis of the plagiarism conducted, it has been identified as different types. Okay? Okay, so let's have a look on each one of them. Now, first is direct plagiarism. So it's very simple without changing the content. You just is copying another person's work and you present it as your own. Simple. I've just taken a content from a literature source and I have not given the reference, or I have not acknowledged the work, and I am presenting it mine. Firstly, direct plagiarism. Sorted. There is no confusion out of it. Okay. Direct plagiarism. Sometimes some things you need to learn from the concept title itself. Direct plagiarism is something which you directly take as yours. Okay. Now then comes your paraphrasing without credit. Now I have told you two things. Okay. Firstly, you cannot copy as it is. Secondly, you cannot present it without referencing. So now what you have done is you have done the rephrasing, but you have not given the references. Are you getting my point? First is to rephrase, second is to given the resource from where you have taken. So you have rephrased, but you have not given the resource. So that's a paraphrasing without credit plagiarism. Okay. Then moving on to the next one, that is mosaic plagiarism. I'm sure that many of you must have and he heard this term at many instances. Mosaic plagiarism is basically when a portion of the work, when a portion of a work you have paraphrased and a portion is not. Okay, so basically when your paper is partially paraphrased is a mix of it. Okay, is a mix of your source words and your own word. In the sense, let's say I've written a literature piece of, let's say, 2 pages. Okay, so here and there, bits and bits, I have paraphrased, and rest I have adapted as it is, rest I have copied as it is. That's mosaic plagiarism. Okay, that's mosaic plagiarism. Then comes self plagiarism. Okay, now self plagiarism means, understand, self plagiarism. So I say that I have written, I'm working on sustainability. For example, I'm working on the topic of sustainability, and I have written a couple of papers in the past on sustainability, and right now I'm writing another one. So I thought of, let me take my content, or I might find my paper previous one as useful for this one. So I take some of the content from there and put into my current work. So, work adapted from my own paper written in the past, and I am adapting it now. So, basically, self plagiarism says that couple of content you have taken it from your own source in the past, and you are completing that work with your own words right now. So, where you have not credited yourself, that self plagiarism. So, thinking that even if it's my work, but it's important for you to acknowledge yourself. Okay. All right. Next comes accidental plagiarism. So, it is like when you present the data or the information for your sources but forget to include citations. Okay, but it is not like that, you have intentionally done it, but you have missed to give the citations. Now understand the difference between here and here. Here you have paraphrased, you have changed the language of the content, but you have not given the credit. Okay, here you have taken the information from the source. I'm not talking about paraphrasing done or not. And you have not given the citation. That is accidental plagiarism. Lastly, in the list is misattribution. Now, misattribution is when you attribute information that comes from one source to a different one. Now, this ABC content is mine, but I have given the credit to some other author. That is misattribution. Okay. Now, before moving further, I have taken down the word paraphrasing again and again, rephrasing again and again. What exactly this term means? Now, when I say paraphrasing or when I say rephrasing, now this term means that without changing the meaning of the content, understand, without changing the meaning of the content, I am changing the language. Understand? Like, for example, I say that Eiffel Tower is located in Paris. Okay. Now, this is one sentence which reflects the meaning that Eiffel Tower is located, or probably you when you visit Paris, you get to see Eiffel Tower. Now, meaning is this that the I'm telling the location of Eiffel Tower with this sentence that Eiffel Tower is located in Paris. Now, two things I cannot change: Eiffel Tower and Paris, because these are the key piece of information in this sentence. But I have to rephrase the sentence that Eiffel Tower is located in Paris. How do I do that? Now I will do it that Paris is the home to one of the most iconic tower in the world, that is Eiffel Tower. That's one way of me telling or passing you the information that I'm telling you about the location of Eiffel Tower in Paris. Now, I said the same thing that Eiffel Tower is located in Paris in a different way. That's what rephrasing is. Now, here, when I talk about credits, now, even if I have changed the way the original sentence was, but this information is not mine. This has been told to me, let's say, for example, by Mr. James. So, I am just rephrasing what Mr. James said, because the original piece of information belongs to him. This information that Paris, or probably you can visit Paris to see Eiffel Tower, or Paris is the home to most iconic tower, that is Eiffel Tower, is being originally given by Mr. James. So giving him the due credits is important. You getting my point what I'm saying? So this is what rephrasing is. All right. Okay. So let's move further. That plagiarism in different disciplines. Now in different disciplines, let's say I just told you about the fashion and music, copying and all. Now in academics, where all of us belongs to, where all of us comes from, academic plagiarism holds a great deal of importance. Now, you know what? Teaching in this part of the world, or probably, while coming from Middle East to here also, um, we have dealt with these cases a lot many times, that high plagiarism that students have taken, um, you know, in the name of adaptation. They have copied the content or from the sources without changing, without and many times what happen is you copy the even references and there is no in-text reference in between the text. That's what academic plagiarism is all about. When you just directly copy, or probably you rephrase the sentence, but it is very close to what is originally is. The cost of this laptop is $5,000, for example. So here you cannot change laptop, you cannot change $5,000. These is a two key piece of information. But keeping cost word as it is will reflect you a very close paraphrasing. You can change it to price. Okay. Now, keeping cost as it is will land you in close paraphrasing. Okay. or if you do not give due credit to your resources, or if you self plagiarize, or if you are submitting your work to a commercial service which is not intended to, this is all academic plagiarism. And these days academic plagiarism, not to my surprise, have taken a great deal of space in academics, let me tell you. And journals, universities are taking special care while you submit your papers to them. They even send the Turnitin reports or other tools which they used for their plagiarism checking to the reviewer, and just to make sure that the submissions are actually plagiarism free, or they are not a copied content to somebody. So this is what is a very important thing to be looked down, that academic plagiarism is actually taking a great deal of space in research these days. Okay, moving ahead. Now, we understood plagiarism, we know that it's a kind of theft. I would say that yes, it's a kind of theft, because you're not acknowledging somebody's work, you are not giving due acknowledgement, or you are just copying the content. Yes, it is a theft. So what are the legal implications of plagiarism? Firstly is, needless to say, but students do face harsh consequences. Let me tell you, like, for instance, I have found the assessments, I'm talking about assessments, I'm not talking about the research papers. I have found the assessments which are highly plagiarized. When I say highly plagiarized, I mean the acceptable level in different universities range from 10 to 15%, or at max, if the university is liberal or the institution is liberal, they accept till 20%. Okay, 10 to 15 is something which is common, and 10 to well, like 20 is something which is not very often, but university uh, does give a chance to students by 20% also. However, I have found cases where plagiarism has reached up to 86%. Yes. Now, what do we do in that? The moment you have your high plagiarism case submitted, depending upon the universities, students does face harsh consequences. Even in my notice, I have seen students who not been getting their results released, or probably despite of repeated. See, one instance is okay, but despite of being being giving um, notices or telling them not to do so, if students continue to do so, they are being stopped to pursue their semesters or their courses. So yes, there are legal harsh consequences as well. Then comes loss of research funding and grants. Definitely. Now, assessment is something, okay, fine, which can stop you from one semester, one course. But when it is a research project, that intensity is really high, so generally funding agencies, they stop your grant in between, you're not able to procure the fundings and all. Okay, then comes distraction of published work. Exactly, it just happened if your article has been published and it has been found out that, just to me, definitely before publications your article's plagiarism level is checked. But just in case if it is published and later on it has been identified that it is the content is highly plagiarized, your work will be retracted. Absolutely. Okay, now think about it, that you being an author who is looking for a good publication, you being an author who's looking for quality publication, your published work retracted just because of high plagiarism. That's absolutely not a good thing to happen. Okay, so it happens. Now, further on, the implications of plagiarism are flashing very brightly on your screen. Um, you know, Point is that when it comes to implications, we told you, but when it comes to avoiding it as in avoiding your plagiarism, it's very important. So once you are done with the implications of plagiarism, you need to know that how you can actually avoid it, cite it, rephrase it, give due credit. Your one very important thing, one very important thing. Whenever you're working on a research, or you're working on an assessments even, or you're working on your PhD, every university does mention that what kind of citations they are using, or what kind of citations you are supposed to use. Please follow it. Please. Either it is Harvard or APA 7th edition or Chicago, Vancouver, what all is the citation style, you need to follow it. Okay? Okay. Now the question comes that, okay, this is about what we write. All right. Now, what we write, we can identify, or we can be sorted that, oh, okay, I need not to plagiarize. I need to be very careful. How about identifying plagiarism in something which is already written? Because let's say I am going through a literature piece, I need to take an information from them, but I need to be sure that whatever literature I'm going through, it's a quality piece of work, right? And it is free from any kind of plagiarism that needs to be there. Now, how I need to be, how I will be rest assured that yes, I am going through a plagiarism free work. This is by these points. You know, you need to be very sure that the quality work is actually reflecting these qualities, like there's no spelling mistakes, okay, there is no sudden style in change, or grammars or punctuations, or the way you format your sentences. Let me tell you one important thing. Every individual, every student, be it university student or be it researcher, you have a unique style of writing. Now, you develop this style gradually with time. Now, when I look back to my work, um, which I wrote when I start doing my research, and what I write today, it's a great deal of change. I would say improvement is the right word. So, whenever you are going through a literature, please say that, please look into your work, that am I reading a quality paper? Am I reading a quality work? A student has removed the footnotes, or there is no error on spellings, there is no error of grammars, the font size are unanimous throughout the throughout the work, even the objectives are aligned with research methodology. R- Whatever is quoted in the reference is there in the in-text references as well. These are a couple of things which may sound very small to you right now, but they are important. They're very important for you to pay attention. Okay. All right. Now, coming to recognizing and avoiding plagiarism. Now, I told you that we just discussed that you need to understand whenever it is there, a plagiarism piece, or a material which you are going through which is full of plagiarism, you should be able to know that this is something which I'm not supposed to refer in my work. Okay. For that, you need to understand the source material, which we have discussed, which will also will look into it. Plus, you should have your own personal writing style. Now, let me give you an example from my own only. Like whenever I start my paper, I have a habit of firstly writing a very catchy title. My approach is always that I should write a title which have a main title and a subtitle. So my focus is always on making my title catchy with a lot of keywords. Second thing, that the first couple of lines of introduction of my papers, I try to make it generic, not straight jumping on the topic or the title on which I'm writing. So I try to make it generic, or probably related to the topic, but in a general way. Instead of straight, jumping to the conclusion. That's what my writing style is. Okay, so I tell you that all of you should be, should improve yourself into a mature researcher in due course of time, that you have a unique style of writing. Now, coming to that, when you are avoiding plagiarism, so you should understand that whatever, content I'm viewing, that's original. I told you how it is plagiarism free. Second very important thing is, you should know that where and when citation is important. Now, I'll tell you from my own experience that I have gone through couple of assessments, assignments, research work, you say that. Lot of references are given, lot of in-text citations are given, but when I checked, or when I just try to cross check the in-text citations for the same, I couldn't find them within the text. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Now, till now, like I have done, like 8 9 students have done PhD with me, so I've always told them that whenever you're working on your work and you want to make it plagiarism free, now making a bank of your references, I call that reference bank, is very important. Because what happens is, by the time we are done with the work and we need to collate the work, we need to imbibe the resources, we need to accommodate the resources, we generally miss some, or we generally forget some. So, in order to avoid that, make a reference back. And then you, when develop your own personal style of writing, you tend not to copy others' work. That's I have seen, and that I have been practicing, that I should. Okay, I'm taking the information, I'm taking the data from somebody else, but that data will be presented the way I want. I'm not changing the data. I'm not fabricating the data. I'm not manipulating the data, but the data will be presented the way I want to be presented. That's my style. Okay. So please develop that. Then, just to avoid last minute hassle, will improve your writing style a lot. Okay. Do not reach to the deadline, that tomorrow is the deadline, I tomorrow evening is the deadline, I'll submit the paper, or I'll submit the work in the morning. Don't do that. Okay, so this last minute rush, I'll tell you, oh my god, it's crazy, it kills us, right? So, last minute errors, last minute deletion, last minute addition, avoid it. Because last minute addition and revision completely change the language, completely change the meaning altogether. Plus, always use a self plagiarism detection tool before submission. That you should do it. So, and when you are about to submit, just give a quick look. Self review is very important. That will help you to get rid of plagiarism a lot. Okay. Then, as I told you, give a self review, go for self check. How? Just see here. There are a couple of software which are available, and which I have mentioned for your reference, which you can use later. And a couple of them are free as well, and you will find many more on the Google or the internet, which will not require any kind of subscription, but majority of them, after the free trial, they ask you to subscribe, or probably make an account, pay a fees or something like that. Plus, if you don't want to put yourself into any kind of financial affiliation with any kind of software, you can always refer back to your university library. They have the uh, university commonly used plagiarism tool for themselves. So you can ask your librarian to help you check the plagiarism yourself. However, I have given a couple of them for you. Grammarly, I think it's very, very, very commonly known. So it helps you to check the plagiarism, first thing, and it also detect that which all content is duplicated. Okay, so duplicated as in you have repeated the information again. Plus, it also tells you that where all you need the citation, where all the citation is not being done. So these areas, obviously, so if the citation is not done, so definitely you will be trapped into plagiarism. So it helps you to put these citations. Okay, then comes your authenticate. Now authenticate is basically, again, using a large database. It can compare large database. Then also it is, it is helping you to compare somewhere close to 800 scholarly publishers, 49 million works. Okay, so these are the software which I'm telling you, which you can use for your own purpose. Okay, and there are a couple of more as well. Plag Scan, which uses the large index of all kind of web sources. It offers the exclusive joint archive that enable cross-checking of new submission with documents submitted by others. So already who have submitted, your work will be checked against. Then last is cross ref similarity check, which actually cross checks the similarity with the previously published work. So whosoever have submitted already, it will help you to cross check against them. Okay, it actually compares the first full text manuscripts. Okay, Turnitin is also very popular. Now Turnitin, basically what does it do is that it is you know tells it generally tells you more than what Grammarly or Authenticate tells. That it the extent to which, actually I should say like this, the extent to which uh Turnitin tells the plagiarism, it is really, really high. And also what happened is, the recent update I'm telling you, that now if the AI plagiarism is more than 20%, then only it reflects, otherwise it does not. Okay, above 20% plagiarism, it will show. Less than that, it does not, because generally universities allow till 20% of plagiarism. Now I would like to tell you AI plagiarism. Now firstly, it was very important for talk about AI plagiarism because ChatGPT, Perplexity, these AI tools are being majoritarily used, mainly ChatGPT, for developing your content. Now the situation is so bad that students are actually not doing anything. They're just taking help from ChatGPT. Okay. Now using ChatGPT is not bad. No. No, no, don't take it that ma'am is saying that we can develop our content from chat. No. You need to understand. Letting ChatGPT doing your work is very different than letting ChatGPT to refine and polish your work. Okay, many universities, I mean, I can very well know about this side of the world, that yes, universities does allow, if you let or if you use ChatGPT to polish your work, to create a better version of your work, but it's your work. When it comes to developing your work from ChatGPT, AI plagiarism is detected. Okay, and there is a severe consequence for that. Now, generally, what happens is, and it has been seen also, when students develop their work when with ChatGPT, they generally, see, understand. ChatGPT is a software. It has been fed with certain information, or till an extent the information is being fed into it. Okay, whatever answers, whatever information you will get, it is within that information being stored. Now, many a times what happen is, let's say it's a case or it's a research question objective, research objective, which is being designed in a different way, or probably it needs more source of information, more varied kind of information, which is not there with ChatGPT. So ChatGPT will give you a straightforward answer, but it does not match with the requirement. Okay, but it cannot think like a human. That's what you need to understand. And I mean, many of you will debate gives better results, but it cannot think like a like human. That how, if, why kind of scenarios are there. Okay, now coming back to AI's plagiarism, that adapting the work completely from AI is definitely not permitted. Universities does pay attention to this point, that till what extent AI is being used. Okay, and when AI is being used, uh, depending upon the academic institution, you actually need to follow the consequences. Okay, Turnitin AI is being Turnitin definitely detect AI plagiarism, and it definitely tells that what kind of pattern is being copied, what kind of pattern is being paraphrased or not. And I have seen personally, like we work on LMS, which is Turnitin submitted work, which tells us that this is AI plagiarism, or this much is the AI plagiarism. Okay, so yes, you can take help to detect whether the work is AI involved work or not. On Turnitin can help you it. Avoiding it would be beneficial. How? I told you. Okay. Now these are furthermore AI plagiarism checker tools, copy leaks. Okay. Which is basically, it's an AI based plagiarism checker tool that can actually scan or potential plagiarism against a database of online academic sources. Okay, then originality AI, it's again a plagiarism checker. Cross plag, same. Plagibot, AI based plagiarism checker. Copyscape, same. Okay, and Grammarly also helps you write. So this is, I mean, it was actually not intended to talk about AI plagiarism, but I thought of that, yes, AI plagiarism is a serious thing. Um, Dr. Amit has discussed a point which is not a question actually. There are issues with the authenticity of information provided by ChatGPT. Yes, I agree with you, Dr. Amit. Like I told you, that ChatGPT has been fed by certain information. Okay, when, why, how kind of scenario it cannot detect, so it cannot think like human, and whether to what extent of information is right or wrong, it is also questionable. So I am rightly on the same page like you. Okay, so these AI plagiarism checker tool, pay attention to them. Okay, now a couple of informations are also associated with it when you're using a tool, which are falling into the category of limitations. So, plagiarism detection is actually a misnomer. Whatever technology you're using is actually can locate what is your replicated text is, the copied content. Okay. Now, you being an academician, you should, like, I actually determine whether this source is properly cited or not, it is paraphrased. So it is depending upon your discretion. So do not completely rely on these tools. You have to own your own discretion as well. Also, better than the tools, many a case you can find the replicated text, and generally plagiarism tool, they highlight even the title, even the cover sheet also under plagiarism, so that you need to pay attention to. Plus, majority of the system, they won't catch papers which are shared between the institutions. However, I think Turnitin, I have seen Turnitin doing that as well, that if any student have submitted assignment to xyz university, and if you have taken the content from them, those papers, those assignments, it will show you that student paper submitted to this university. So yes. Okay. Yes, Sapna, I am like, I think you, me, Dr. Amit, we all are into onto the same page. It happens. It does happens. Okay. So, how actually we can effectively use these plagiarism tools? Now, firstly, is that whenever you are using these tools and you are going for the plagiarism report which has been generated by these tools, you need to see, you need to understand, you should be able to understand that what this report says, plus, if required, to not just rely on one tool. Like, I would say that if if required, or as in if the situation is questionable, I would say that please refer to more than one plagiarism tool. And even if the the plagiarism level or the plagiarism content remains the same, then I would say that you should go for a second opinion, like the way we do in the doctor's case. Okay. All right. Now, coming to a very important aspect, that is citations. Now, see, like pointed by Swapna, that whenever we try to check the citations, the articles never existed. Yes, Swapna, this kind of citations, plagiarism, or probably citation theft, that, let's put these citations in our work, who's going to check, is actually, is a bigger theft than plagiarism. Yes, because you have never referred those paper and you are putting the name into a paper, is actually is a bad theft, is a bad thing to do, and it is worse than plagiarism. So citations, you should understand it very importantly. And why? Firstly, you should know it. Citations actually are confirming the fact that you have taken the resource from this particular source, and you are reflecting the name of it, or probably I should say that you are acknowledging the source of it, so that it does not comes under the radar of plagiarism. That's a simple thing. Okay, that's a simple thing, that you need to know that yes, citation is important. I generally just bust out of my students of not realizing the importance of citation and how important it is, that if you're not giving acknowledgement to another author, you're actually stealing their work. So it's very important to understand the citations and how they work. So with you, I'm going to share a couple of citations which are really, really, or I should say that which are really important and which are widely used. First is APA, and I have actually given the examples of these references and how the in-text citation is used. Okay, where it is being used. So I have given the example. For example, surname, this is a surname, first name, middle name. So this is the style, APA style. Then it is MLA, modern language association style, how this has been written. So this is the example, how you are actually write it, what pattern do you follow, and where it is exactly being used, and how you are using the citation in text citation. Okay, then comes Chicago style. Now in Chicago style, again, how do you do it, what is the pattern you follow, where it is being used, and in text citations. Okay, so these are most commonly used one. Okay, and uh, what are the way of in-text citations? That also I have discussed. Okay. Now, these are reference management tools. Now, when I say citations are important, references are important, so lot many times it happens that it really becomes a pain in the head of making a note of what all references we have used, what all papers we have reviewed. Who remembers? Actually, it is humanly insane and it is impossible as well. So what to do in that case? uh, in that case, you use these tools, reference management tools. What does these tools do? These tools actually helps you to manage your references or referred word. um there's a glitch, sorry, yeah. They helps you to manage your references or referred word or maintain a bank for you, that in future when you want to refer, sorry. So when you refer, when you manage, or when you go back to the work which you gone through, it helps you to telling that this is the work which you referred to. Okay, I'm so sorry, I'm taking a question in between because this is like not important exactly, otherwise this is here, this question is here me makes sense. Mr. Bahesh asked that how can we fix the problem when repeated words are shown as plagiarism? Use synonyms, Mr. Mahesh. Okay, and now I request everybody to post their questions once the webinar is done, because I couldn't stop myself to answer this question. Okay, coming back to these reference management tools, so these tools actually helps you to manage the references. References are like manage your literature sources. Their references can be managed by these tools. For example, RefWorks, Mendeley, and Zotero. Mendeley and Zotero, I think they are very important. They are widely popular. They are very commonly used also. So if you see here on your screens, so RefWorks, Mendeley, Zotero, this feature is there in all three. So they generate citations automatically in Microsoft Word, capture citation from major database and search engines. What RefWorks does is access robust technical support. This is Zotero's and this is Mendeley's. So here you can see that these three things are commonly done by all three. So please make sure that in order to not to get lose your references, you should use these reference management tools. Okay. Okay. Now, like I said, that Zotero and Mendeley, they are very commonly used. So exactly these are the common features of Zotero and Mendeley. Both this is specifically for Zotero and this is specifically for Mendeley. Now, if you ask me which one to use, I would say any based on your comfort. Okay, so you can use any of them. So for this, for Mendeley, you need to register an account, then you need to download reference manager. Here I'm talking about Mendeley. Now when you want to insert citations and bibliography, you need to install Mendeley site. Okay, so this is for Mendeley. Okay, now here we know citations. Okay, we know the reference management tools. Okay, now point is that we know everything, we are citing also, but what are the problems occurring? Why our plagiarism is still very high? The answer is we are doing some mistakes. What are these mistakes? So one is very important. Okay, fine, we are not citing at all. Okay, what comes is next is incorrectly citing sources. Either you're not putting the year, or probably not putting the surname, or probably not giving the journal name, whatever information is there with you, you're not putting it correctly. Then using unreliable sources, exactly. For instance, Wikipedia. I mean, I get really insane when I find students using Wikipedia or some random URL in their mm, what do you say that, in their references. I really go crazy about it. Why and how these unreliable resources are being used and why they should be used. They should not be. Okay. Then now, how come you get to know these are unreliable sources? You see, this piece of information is being shared, the author's authentication is being shared, what kind of information and what kind of data is being shared, all these. So, some random URL web page you are quoting as a reference, why it is not good or why it is not suggestive, reason being is the information on these web pages can anytime be changed. Okay, so that is why we say that any random piece of information from any random URL page should not be shared. Okay, then comes not citing source in the proper format. Yes, that's very important. That's I have seen many times with students. So please follow the formatting style, referencing style, which has been directed you, which has been directed to you to use. Okay, not citing in-text citations, exactly, that is very very important. Whatever reference you're using it towards the end, the same in-text citation of it should be there within the text. Okay, then copying pasting, definitely that we all know, that should be, all know. Okay, now talking about paraphrasing. I told you about paraphrasing, yeah, right? What exactly is it and how do we do it? So let's further dwell deep into it. What is paraphrasing? Okay, now firstly let's know about effective paraphrasing. Okay, now when you're talking about paraphrasing, I told you that it's not just placing words here and there. It's about changing the language, keeping the meaning intact. Again, I'm saying so. It's about changing the language, keeping the meaning intact. Okay. Plus, what you're doing is you're just rewriting the coding. That's it. You're just rewriting the coding, codes, or probably the information. Now, when I say codes, I'm sorry for that. I should not say you are not changing the codes. Okay, because it is not supposed to be changed. Now, paraphrasing is importantly done. Now, how actually you get the idea for paraphrasing? Many times students have asked me this question. When you go through extensive literature, okay, when you go through extensive literature, you understand the different writing style, firstly. Second thing is you get to know the different terminologies used by different authors, which can actually help you to put those vocabulary. I'm actually giving you a tip and trick. When you read a lot of literature, you understand the different styles of authors, you understand the kind of vocabulary they use, and obviously, see, we have only 26 alphabets. From where we'll get the extra words, right? And it's very impossible to know each and every word in a different synonymous way. So when you read, you get to know, okay, fine, this word same way, same meaning is being used, that let's adapt it. This writing style, let's adapt. This is the way you do it. You got my point? This is the way you adapt it. Okay, all right. Now, proper quotation practices, this is very important when it comes to paraphrasing. Now, you need to cite all the quotes. You need to understand that you need to see. Just give me a minute, guys. You need to know that where we need to paraphrase, we are not changing the key ideas. This mistake, please never ever do it. Do not change the main idea. Do not, like I gave you the example, Paris is located in, sorry, Eiffel Tower is located in Paris. Fine. MacBook is costing $5,000. So you need to understand what is the key piece of information. Paris, Eiffel Tower, MacBook, dollar 5,000. I cannot change them at all. I just need to change rest of the things, which is not information, which is just plain English. Okay. So what I'm telling you right now is that you are just playing around the words. You're not just changing the English, sorry, the key piece of information at all. You're just changing the English. Okay. So that's what you have to do. Now, then comes patch writing. Now, in the hustle bustle of paraphrasing, students actually do the patchwork plagiarism a lot. Now, what happened is, like I told you, that read a lot of literature, you'll get where they used, where they, have used this word in different contexts. Now, eventually, if I would not have told you about patchwork plagiarism, you would have ended doing patchwork plagiarism. How? Patchwork, like we understand that whenever there is a little slit in our clothes, or probably there's a hole in our clothes in older times, or probably when our mothers, or not exactly everybody's mother, but even we used to put a patch on the clothes because the whole cloth is intact enough, but there's just one hole to just to hide it, and patch. Okay, similarly that ways. So you take one information from here, one piece of information is here, and one piece, and put them all together. So you're not rephrasing them, you're not changing the language, you are just putting different information from different papers. And either one of the authors, let's say for example, I prepare one paragraph and I have taken the information from the for that one paragraph from nearly 4 or 5 sources. And out of those 4 or 5 authors, I've taken one authors and I've taken the name. Now that actually falls into the category of patchwork. Now, even if you are taking, I would say that even if you're taking zillion resources, but you have to change the language of all. And you have to give credit to all of them. That's also very important. Even if you are adapting, you are taking information from, let's say, 5 authors. Okay. Rephrasing is important, and giving credit to all 5 is very important. Okay. So, paraphrasing is that you are rewriting the idea, meaning is intact. So, it's just that the text is changed structurally. Writing is when you are changing the words. Like I think Mr. Mahesh asked that how can we fix the problem of. So, what you are doing is patchwork you are doing. Okay, you can actually just changing putting here and there. So we need to change the entire location of the word. Okay, like I told you, Mr. Mahesh, that you can use the synonym of the words. Now, stating that synonym of the word does not mean that pick up the one word and put the synonym at that place. You have to change the structure of the text. Okay, that is what has been important to be done. Okay. Although it's a break time, let's continue with the discussion. Otherwise, we will lose you generally lose the theme which we are going, or probably this the break actually tends to break out the rhythm. Now, educating researchers on plagiarism. Now, this is what it has been happening a lot of time, that a lot of universities, lot of educational institutes, they're actually coming up with various training programs that how you can avoid plagiarism. Like one of it was very recently organized in Delhi on detecting AI plagiarism, and it was open to academicians, students, researchers. Okay, so it's very important. See, committing plagiarism and identifying it, academic integrity, these are all not just the mere topic to talk about. Like very rightly said by Dr. Amit just now in the chat, that a couple of minutes back in the chat, that plagiarism is actually academic mafia. Yes. If we don't realize that how our original thinking is being overcome, or rather I should say that it's been taken over by these tools, by these chat gpts, these ai things, all these is being taken away our original pieces of ideas. Okay, that is what we have to get rid of. So when it comes to institutional training programs, so firstly you should know, being a researcher, being an academician, you should know that what is exactly plagiarism is. It should be very widely known and understood by you. Second thing is that what all are the best practices, like we discussed: understanding plagiarism, citations, paraphrasing, AI detection, what softwares to be used, how to be used, how to manage your. This is all your plagiarism literacy. This is all which has been contributing to your literacy. And when it comes to different academic fields, like for example, just now Mr. Mohammed said that he used full names of chemical formula, and it is it's shown as plagiarism. So different domains, different educational fields involves different kind of plagiarism. So now, for instance, couple of things we cannot change at all. Like for example, he said chemical formula. Now you can't change a chemical formula. That is definitely going to come in the plagiarism. Now this kind of plagiarism comes into that radar which is acceptable by the university. That's how I that is the reason different universities have kept different ranges of plagiarism, that till 10 till 15 or till 20% plagiarism is allowed, because students will use certain definitions, which students will use certain, like you said, chemical formulas. The students will use certain piece of information which they cannot change. Beyond that beyond that, it is not permissible. That what we should know. Okay, so that's why I always say that limit the use of your definitions, limit the use of the quotes. Okay, now academic integrity is something you won't believe. Here also in Melbourne, whenever we go for any institution, whenever we join any institution, or even during the due course of our teaching, it has been it has been taught to us, or it has been delivered to us as a training, that maintaining an academic integrity culture is very important. Okay, no, it's not only bad for students, it's also bad for the reputation of educational institution, that what kind of quality work or what kind of work the place is producing. So when you are, like for example, I always tell my students that it is okay to write a small piece of information which is your own, than to write long piece of information which is somebody else's. I follow this. It's okay to maintain your word limit, which is yours. Okay, but you give me pages to read, but you have not contributing anything into it. It's not something which is acceptable. Okay, so you as a junior, as a senior academician, should always try and guide your students, that how to move ahead with it, how to actually go through any piece of paper, any piece of information, then adapt it to yours, keeping the meaning intact, changing the language. That has to be very important. And always reliable source of information should be used, always reliable piece of data should be used. Okay, that's why we say that different softwares to be used. Now, like I tell you, all of you all of you should go to your library and should check what kind of plagiarism detection tools they are using. Many organizations, when many educational organizations, when they have their LMS, that is learning management system, on those management system, whatever submissions you do, it is actually going through a plagiarism check. You should know about it. If you're not aware of it, you please go to your librarian. He or she will give you a complete go through of what all plagiarism detection tools they are using, and you should be aware of any kind of copyright or any kind of proper intellectual property laws, that you are not, you know falling into that also. Plus, any, or if there are, what all kind of consequences when it comes to plagiarism in academia are there. Like, for example, I always tell to my students that beyond a certain percentage, when the organization or when the college does not accept your work which is highly plagiarized, I cannot do anything. Actually, your academicians cannot do anything, because the the particular submission then goes follows to the academic integrity route, that is, pausing the result or stopping the result or raising queries from questions the students and so on. Thank you, Dr. Amit, for answering. I was waiting for answer this question by the end of the webinar. Yes, it does reflects your similarity from different sources. For example, you have taken your content from student submission, like somebody have already submitted the work, you have taken the content from their work. So let's say it will show in green, so all the greens are reflecting that you have taken the information from some other students already submitted work. Okay, this is just an example which I'm telling you now. Okay, plagiarism is done and you have come across, how will you address it? Now, this is particularly to all the academicians. Okay, you need to know firstly that if you come across any plagiarism, that how you should handle it, what are the different steps. For example, one, for instance, I'm telling you that, and which is commonly followed as well, that if you come across any plagiarism, highly plagiarism reflected, or even I should say that plagiarism is reflected in any kind of submitted work, firstly, it's your discretion to check to what level this plagiarism is. Let's say, for example, you come across high AI plagiarism. Okay, now then you will see that whether the work is just AI adaptation, because it will show plagiarism, or it is not making any sense, or you need to forward the case to higher authorities. Then, following the task and steps of the institution, um, whether it needs to be raised as a case, or it needs to be raised as a warning given to the students, or it needs to fill the academic misconduct form, what needs to be done, that is, you need to understand as a plagiarism process, and what are the appeals to be raised for the researchers who have found to be doing plagiarism. Okay, so this is basically varies from institution to institution, and you need to understand it. So if you get to access, or if you get to know any kind of plagiarism case, so firstly, like I said, it's your discretion, you need to go through it. Is it a intentional one? I mean, does it make any sense, or it is deliberately being done, or it is just an accidental plagiarism? So when you go through the piece, you get to know it. Then you can also, you need to also see that whether the cross check references are being there in the in-text citations or not. This is very important. So because, like rightly said by Swapna, that many a times you go through the reference, and the reference is being taken from so XYZ article, and that there is no XYZ article altogether, like that. So this needs to be taken care very well. And whenever you are going ahead for any reports, any online reports to be accessed through, you need to see that, um, it also need not to be plagiarized. And how you can actually check it, that is, I told you that if there is a written material, how you can check the plagiarism. In the previous slide I told you about that. Okay. Now, what are the penalties for plagiarism? Like I told you that if there is any academic retraction, paper retraction, um, or any training to be given, any warning to be given, proper, because sometimes what happen is you as a student don't have the understanding of plagiarism at all. Now, in that case, what is to be done? Okay, if any student, despite of repeated warning, like we have come across many, right? If any student, despite of repeated warning, is still committing the same, then we withheld the submissions. There are no more future submissions permitted to the students. Or if it is like, okay, the plagiarism is although high, however students score are probably now it has been found that it is accidental plagiarism, then a time is being given to the students. Okay. um so then it just comes to academic integrity policies. Now you need to understand that what exactly are the policies of your institution. Let's say you have done the plagiarism. Firstly, we need to do not to we need not to do it. But whatever is being done, what is to then next do? So you should know what your institution is supposed to take action whenever there is a case of plagiarism in your case or in anybody's case. You should know the procedures to, because many a times you're not intentionally doing the plagiarism, but it is accidentally happening. Then also you should know what is the aftermath of such scenario. Okay. What are the students responsibility? Now, students responsibilities first and foremost is not to commit plagiarism. First and foremost, you and only you are responsible not to fall into the trap of plagiarism. Then needs to comply by all the academic rules and standards that what all your institute has asked to do and not to do. uh, you should be knowing it firstly, plus you should be following them. It's not only about knowing, it's also about following too. Okay. And all this is being told to your respective supervisor, your respective departments, your respective faculties, and if not all, library. Okay. Then comes support systems. So there are actually a very great deal of support system which is available on in your institution as well. And such webinars which we are conducting right now is telling you about is plagiarism concept of it, how to avoid it, what tools to go for it. Plus, you know you need to be sure that you know whom to access. Okay. You need to know whom to access in such case. Okay. Now, what kind of lessons we should take whenever we come across or whenever we know that there's a plagiarism incidents? Um, I have seen, or in my personal experience, universities they regularly audit the research papers submitted. Journals they regularly audit the research submitted. They promote, or they always tell the researchers to self check the paper before the deadline, no matter what. Just plan a day for yourself before the final submission that yes, I need to do a self check for my paper in order to detect any kind of plagiarism if there is any. Okay. All right, so that was all from our side for today's webinar. Now we are open for the questions. Now let me have all the questions from side. Yes, there are a lot of things which are there. Hmm. Okay, Veena, the tools, there are a couple of them which are free, or which gives you free trials also. Okay, complete free, you have to check. Mr. Mahesh, we talked about your comment. Okay, thank you so much, really. Most of the time, yes, Umesh has a comment. Most of the time, plagiarism tool detect common words like in one of my paper, uh, based on QLT identification. Okay, tool showcase plagiarism. Yes, because what happened is that mm, basically we need to know, for those who doesn't know what are QLT identification. They are quality, um done. Am I audible to all? Yeah, it's sorted now. Yeah, so these are basically, they are indicators. So yes, generally what happen is that the tools are being inbuilt in such a way that they do indicate them as high plagiarism. Try using some kind of synonyms with these, for these words, Umesh. Yes, Mr. Ramesh, your question is answered. Mr. Muhammad, yours too. When I entered my by guide names institute, the plagiarism show details that there is one more institute where he was associated with Satish. Obviously, it's quite possible, right, that he might be working with some other institute in the past, so it's absolutely okay. Should all quotes be inverted commas even if paraphrased? No, no. Quotes are always in inverted commas. If you say quotes are basically when somebody said something. So, yes. Now, direct quotes, as in I told this example for particularly for the people who are working on language or literature, Hindi, English, or any kind of language literature. So, if any author said something directly, verbatically, that need not to be paraphrased. Okay. Any kind of specific instruction for editor or reviewers? Hi, Sapna, because I'm also a reviewer for a couple of journals, and you won't believe today only I got my papers. Yes, basically, you always ask for a plagiarism report for the papers whom you have received for review. Yes, and if that report has not been given, so please ask the editor that whether you are supposed to review on plagiarism also, or you are just supposed to review the technical content of it. Yep. Yes, how to give citation when there's a lack of information about the author, for example. Whatever information is given to you, whatever, need no, see, Yash, like you are Yash Keshri, right? You don't have a middle name. It's okay. So, whatever information is being given, because every author need not to have a middle name, but every author will have a first and a last surname. Okay, so it's important to give whatever information is being given to you to be put it into the right format. Okay. Okay, if there, please guys, please feel free to have the questions if you have any. Please feel free to put up your questions. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Thank you so much. It is always good to interact, and I think you and me are on the same page when it comes to AI detection. Yes. Yes, Satish. Why do references quoted get checked for plagiarism? Okay, Satish, very good question, but very simple answer for it. Generally, what happens is students feel that references are not being checked. So, in order to increase the number of references, they just got copy and paste it. That's why it is being checked. And in economics paper, you are putting the references of some literature paper. That does not make sense. That's why. How to create an idea to write a news research paper and avoiding plagiarism. Okay, Dr. Deepak, for that, um, I would suggest that you always keep a check, or you always keep an eye on the latest conferencing. Yes, and when you are going through the literature in order to finalize your ideas, you'll get to know that to what extent or what kind of work is being already done on similar topics. That will avoid help you to avoid plagiarism. Thank you, Dr. Joseph. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Please feel free to have any question. I mean, India is really coming up with a lot of festivals in coming days. Mr. Bharat, is there any plagiarism check for synopsis or research proposal or topic selection? Because what happens, topic select by our own may be previous and yes, Mr. Bharat. In that case, I would say that what the question which you are asking and which Dr. Deepak is asking is basically not exactly of the content plagiarism. Actually, it's about doing an idea which has been already done. See, idea can be repeated, however, you tend to change the sample or the population on which you are working. Okay, how to increase citation, Sandeep? It's only one strategy, that is more of literature. Yeah, the keyword is repeated, such as image processing, image segmentation, CAD design. See, Mr. Mahesh, see, simple thing is very simple. If the key information words are not supposed to be changed, they do not have any alternative words to be put into, because if they had been changed, the entire meaning will change. Let it be then. Okay, Caribbean, it's there available on Google. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Please feel free to put in your questions. And also, many congratulations to all. A very happy Navratri who all are celebrating. There are a lot of Mahadeva. There are a lot of software which is free. Yeah, I think Grammarly also, till what extent it is free. Plagiarism checker is free. Um I think Q text, it's QUE. Check this one. I think it is free. Hmm. Vishwa, how many references are required to for any paper? Depends upon paper to paper. Yep. It's. Can you suggest online? I just mentioned one of it. Rest I have given in the slides. Thank you, Divya. Thank you. I think there is one more. Check this as well. Turnitin report is very easy, Abia, to read. When Turnitin is showing the report, okay, it is showing you in the different colors. Okay, it is showing you different colors and different kind of. Let me just give me a minute. Uh, just give me a minute. I'll show you one report. Okay. So this is what I have opened for you all. It is the Turnitin report. Okay. So different colors, like 27% similarity is from this source, this source. So different colors actually shows you the different sources from where you have taken the information. Okay, this is how you get to read your Turnitin report. Okay, it's available. It's available, Caribbean. How to review an article. Uh, Miss Veena, it depends upon what kind of review you want to do. Are you doing a review on the basis of the content, and or you are just trying to check the paraphrasing done properly or not? Because this plagiarism and the Turnitin plagiarism can only be done with the help of tools. It's available, Ramesh, on the Google. Yeah. Thank you, Roy. While using online resources, the prompts have to be really sharp. Yes, the prompts have to be really sharp. You're very rightly said by Dr. Amit. Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Certificate will be provided to you right after the webinar. How to interpret written report, ma'am, please. Okay. Like I said, let me share it with you once again. Okay. Um, Pay attention here, Ramesh. If you can see here that there are different colors given to you, okay? So these different colors showcases and this percentage showcases what are the sources and how much it has been taken. Okay, so if we have total, let's say 27%. So what are the different sources on these 20%, 27%, and what are the different percentages being taken? Okay, that is how you actually interpret or you read the Turnitin report. Okay, thank you so much. Dilbert gives a different percentage. Yes, Shalu, it does happen, because Turnitin is very intensive. It gives you the maximum percentage. So don't worry about it. Yeah. No, Sunantha, no. Neko, like I said, it varies. The percentage of plagiarism accepted, it varies place to place. Rohini, see, if could you please, okay. You say that you in Turnitin have not received the chat GPT, but when I applied to a journal, I got chat GPT, though I have not used. Could you? So it may like first of all, you need to be very true that you whether you have used the chat GPT or not. You say that no, you have not used. So probably you have taken the information from resources which has taken adaptation from chat GPT. That can be a possibility. Bibliography plagiarism, how to use it. Uh, when you change the referencing style, it changes. I have told you, Asit, in above chat, it has been told. Yeah. So it's not only you have you not use or not. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you. Deliberate. You need to check, Dr. Deepak. You need to check. Yes. See, when it comes to free plagiarism check, they either limit you with the word or they limit you with the documents. Yeah, you probably they limit you by the document or by words. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm honored. I'm really feel very interactive that when you Kanchan, I have mm, mm, mentioned above. Yes, the slides will be shared with you all. If it shows like colors, that way particular section can be changed, right? See, you need to see that yes, the color shows the plagiarism where the sources has been taken. Um, Sometimes some information cannot be changed. What others can be changed, you can do it. It'll be given to you. Slide will be given to you. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. While we using, is it free from plagiarism? Paraphrasing is done, Kanchan, to get your work free from plagiarism. Yes, indeed. Different editors, different journals have different, not the editors check. Different journals have different criteria to check the plagiarism. See, removal of plagiarism is mainly as citation and paraphrasing. Yes, Vishwa, you can get in touch with me on the email ID of Research Graduate. Thank you. Different tool shows different play. Oh, yeah, Umesh, absolutely right. Different tool shows different plagiarism check. Um, See, when you are checking it for yourself, um, you probably go through two or three, and the one which shows the maximum plagiarism and check out the sources, so clear them up, you're done sorted. However, when you are submitting to any institution, any journal, they will do it for you. Should a line and paper content? I mean, I didn't get your question, Sandeep. If I use some data from earlier research without giving proper citation, of course, Kanchan, it is plagiarism. For us, it is plagiarism. Yes, Shalu. Basically, due to all your content is from English literature. Yes, see, the key information we cannot change, so it does happen. You focus on rephrasing. Dr. Srinivas, AI usage is considered as plagiarism, depends upon how much you have used. You have taken the content from AI, or you have used AI to modify your content. So two things are different. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Is tabulated presentation with citation with little modification is a copy data content if proper citation is given. It comes under that permissible range of plagiarism. However, too much use of it should be avoided. Sandeep, different journals use different plagiarism check method. How to minimize? I have given a complete slide how to minimize the plagiarism content. Sandeep, your questions, I'm finding it little, like deviated from each question is little deviated. How to validate the results, how Scopus Journal, I mean, I would appreciate that if you ask the webinar related questions, that would be okay. Because how to validate the result, now again, validating the results, your own, some other authors, it is completely a clueless question. I mean, I need you to reform your questions once again. Please, guys, post your questions before we end the webinar. And if there are no questions for the time being, okay, one of my paper got a high plagiarism score, but about 80% would like to be words like ULM, which is the main theme of my paper. How to word this type of issue? Okay. And now, Umesh, it depends upon what kind of tool you are using, firstly. And then, obviously, like ULT identification is something which you cannot change. Sometimes the software detects every kind of work as a plagiarism. So this is something which is into that only. Dr. Srinivas, this I won't be able to tell you it's in Tamil or not. I mean, I have no information about it. I have from my co-researchers once we pre-checked a research article internet, some need to more patience while doing it intermission. Yes, DS. This is actually I have heard from many students in past as well. Yes, because for you, your work entered into Turnitin database. That's what. How to put keywords? Mm, Sandeep, your question is. I mean, again, it is keywords you identify on the theme of your work. Please don't randomly put up the questions, okay? If you have any related questions, I would appreciate you put that. Please don't randomly put the questions. Okay. Kindly share your contact. Asad, you can get in touch with me on the research graduates email ID. Yes, I would suggest you that avoid using Turnitin before your end submission because then it is then whenever whosoever is checking your work again, it will show that's a student paper submitted to this university. Okay, so avoid using this one. You can switch to another one, another software. Yeah. Do we have any other questions? Good evening, Mrs. Subad. Good evening. Sure, sure, Kanchan. Sure, sure. We'll be organizing many more for in future as well. Even if a particular event it may show place. Citation, citation. See, firstly, citation, paraphrasing, and avoid using too much of adapted data from other sources. Yeah. Okay. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. Is Turnitin solution for checking result of theoretical predictions? Uh, Sandeep, your question should be: Is Turnitin is a solution for plagiarism checking? Then yes, but it's not the only solution. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. That's all was for today. And in future, whenever we can, when the next webinar will be conducted, it'll be notified for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.